Welcome to the session on applying whole numbers, real-life contexts, distance, population, and money. The objectives for this session are learning how to read and interpret whole numbers in real-life situations, choose an appropriate operation, addition, subtraction, or multiplication, solve one- and two-step problems involving distance, population, and money, and present answers clearly, including the correct units. These objectives focus on using whole numbers in practical examples. When you solve each problem, focus on two key points: selecting the correct operation and stating your final answer with the correct unit, such as kilometers, people, or pounds, etc. Before we begin, let's review some terms. Distance refers to how far. Population refers to the number of people. Money requires careful attention to pounds and pence or shillings. Total usually indicates addition, while difference indicates often subtraction. When solving real-life problems, use this four-step strategy. Always begin by identifying the unit, because a correct number without the correct unit is incomplete. Secondly, decide which operation is needed. Thirdly, calculate carefully. And finally, check the answer is reasonable and include the unit. Let's take a look at some examples. The first example is looking at distances in kilometers for everyday journeys. We may be asked to add them to find a total distance or compare them to decide which is longer. So in this example, the journey from the school to the market is 6 kilometers. The journey from the market to the clinic is 9 kilometers. And the journey from clinic to home is 4 kilometers. Suppose a person walks from the school to the market to the clinic. How much do they walk altogether? Or what distance do they walk altogether? In this case, we're looking at the total distance. In other words, we add. So the total distance is the journey from the school to the market, which is 6 kilometers, plus the journey from the market to the clinic, which is 9 kilometers. Altogether, this gives us 15 kilometers. Now let's take a look at a population example. Population means the number of people living in a place. When asked for the difference, we subtract the smaller number from the larger number. So, suppose in village A, there are 6,850 people, and in village B, there are 4,275 people. What's the difference in the populations? In this example, we need to subtract. So let's subtract. 6,850 minus 4,275 equals 2,575 people. Now let's take a look at another example. Money in Tanzania in shillings. Suppose an exercise book costs 1,200 shillings and a pen costs 800 shillings and a ruler costs 1,500 shillings. We may need to add prices to find a total cost or subtract to find change. Suppose we buy one exercise book and one pen. What's the total cost? One exercise book costs 1,200 shillings and one pen costs 800 shillings. The total cost is the two added together, So we have 2,000 shillings. Now let's take a look at another example. Suppose a teacher buys 6 exercise books for his class. How much does he pay altogether? In this example, this is a repeated cost for each book, and therefore we multiply. We have 1,200 multiplied by 6. Since the cost of one exercise book is 1,200 and the teacher is buying 6 exercise books, giving us a total of 7,200 shillings. Now for another scenario. Suppose you pay for one ruler with 2,000 shillings. How much change will you get? This is a case of subtraction. We minus. So we pay with 2,000 shillings and the ruler itself costs 1,500 shillings. So 2,000 minus 1,500 is 500 shillings. Before you finish any problem, do check that your answer is sensible and that you've included the correct unit. Also, double check that you do choose the correct operation. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. They focus on distance. Remember to include kilometers in each final answer. The solutions will be released one at a time so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Notice that part 3 uses multiplication because the same distance is repeated each day. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. These exercises focus on population. Use subtraction for differences and increases, and addition for totals. The solutions will be released one at a time so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Remember to ensure your answers include the unit, learners or people. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. They focus on money in Tanzanian shillings. Remember to write the currency clearly as TSH. The solutions will be released one at a time so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. In part 2, we multiply because the fare is repeated for each person. And finally, these exercises. These exercises are mixed practice. Remember to choose the correct operation, calculate carefully, and include units. The solutions will be released one at a time so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. In part 3, note that it is a two-step problem. First find the total cost, then subtract from the amount available. This brings us to the end of this session. Do attempt the additional exercises from your teacher or your textbook related to this topic. Thank you very much for listening.